Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with the Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I'm so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right until the very end, because we have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe down below, because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number
93.
Light and joy and peace abide in me. Can you feel the light inside of you? Can you feel the joy? Can you feel the peace? Light and joy and peace abide in you and abide in me, my friends. Let's read the lesson. You think you are the home of evil, darkness, and sin. You think if anyone could see the truth about you, he would be repelled, recoiling from you as if from a poisonous snake. You think if what is true about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror so intense that you would rush to death by your own hand, living on after seeing this being impossible. Oh, dear friends, when I read this, it breaks my heart. I have worked with so many people in a counseling situation who truly see themselves this way. I saw myself that way for many years. This is what the ego tells us. We're nothing but dirt. I used to believe that every single thing that I ever did was written down in God's book and that I was going to be punished for that one day. That is not true, my friends. That is all ridiculous nonsense that we received as children, whether it be from the church or from our parents or from our school teachers, that we were going to burn in hell for all of our bad behavior. None of that exists. All that God sees is right here, right now. Only light and joy and peace abide in me. We are not evil. We are not darkness. We are not sin. None of that is true. Let's not be afraid to look inside ourselves, friends. I'm sure that none of you would leave your garbage in your house for years and years, just collecting and accumulating, allowing it to get all stinky and dirty until eventually there's so much garbage in there you can't even walk around. Yet we allow ourselves to do that to our own spirit. Take out the garbage, journal about it, talk to someone about it, pray about it. Do not allow it to stay within your psyche. Let's read on. These are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. That you have made mistakes is obvious. That you have sought salvation in strange ways, have been deceived, deceiving and afraid of foolish fantasies and savage dreams, and have bowed down to idols made of dust. All this is true by what you now believe. When we believe it, we make it true for ourselves, but that is the only part of it. It is only true for us. It is not true in God's world. It does not exist. They are based on nothing. We have been deceived by the ways of the world, my friends, every single one of us. We have been afraid. We have been taught to be afraid of our own mistakes. We've been taught to be afraid of other people's mistakes. Bound down to idols made of dust. These idols are all of the different myriad distractions that we all creatively find to distract ourselves from what's going on inside of us. For me, it has been shopping, it's been alcohol, it has been relationships, it has been my children. Some people fall into gambling, some people fall into sex addiction and fantasies, watching TV all day long. These are all ways to distract us from what's going on inside of ourselves. We don't need to do that any longer, my friends. These are foolish idols made of dust. They do not satisfy. They do not last. Let's read on. Today we question this, not from the point of view of what you think, but from a very different reference point, from which such idle thoughts are meaningless. These thoughts are not according to God's will. These weird beliefs He does not share with you. This is enough to prove they are wrong, but you do not perceive this is so. For many years, I believed that God was a punishing God who was just waiting to bring the hammer down on my head. I believed that all of the problems that I had, problems with my first marriage, problems with my children, were because I had done all of these things wrong. I now know that none of that is true. Every single person is on their own path. My children have their own journey. My ex-husband had his own journey. None of what happened was because of what I did. It was because of their own decisions. It was because they had their own path. These are hard lessons to accept, my friends. Guilt and shame are so much a part of the ego, and the ego does not want to let us go. The ego wants to keep us stuck in feeling like we are responsible for the problems of the world. Let it go, my friends. Let it go. Let it go. Let's read on. Why would you not be overjoyed to be assured that all the evil you think you did was never done, that all your sins are nothing, that you are as pure and holy as you were created, and that light and joy and peace abide in you? Your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God. You think that this is death, but it is life. You think you are destroyed, but you are saved. Once again, this is the ego holding on to us, the ego telling us that to let go of our guilt and shame somehow or other is going to destroy us. It's like we've been literally living in a tiny little box our whole lives. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Room, where the mother had been kidnapped and put into a shed in which there was just a square box with a kitchen and a bathroom, a bed and a table. The man that kidnapped her raped her repeatedly, and she had a child who was 6 or 7 when the movie was created. The movie was called Room because all they knew was room. The little boy did not understand concepts like sky and trees and grass. Just thinking about it brings tears to my eyes. He did not understand that there was an entire world outside of the room. This is a perfect metaphor for what it's like for us in the world of the ego. We do not understand that there's something so much bigger and better and more wonderful outside of the guilt and shame that we are caught in. We can break free, my friends. Let's do that today. Let's read on. The self you made is not the Son of God. Therefore, this self does not exist at all, and anything it seems to do and think means nothing. It is neither bad nor good. It is unreal and nothing more than that. It does not battle with the Son of God. It does not hurt him nor attack his peace. It has not changed creation, nor reduced eternal sinlessness to sin and love to hate. What power can this self you made possess when it would contradict the will of God? The self of the ego is powerless. I think we all know that by now. If you've lived many years at all, you've already experienced lots of hardship, lots of troubles, lots of difficulty. We are powerless over the things of this world. But in God's world, we have infinite power. We can tap into God's strength. We can tap into God's love. Would you want to contradict the will of God? Would you truly want to stay stuck? Would you want to stay trapped in the world of the ego? Let's read on. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. It is true. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Nothing can touch it or change what God created as eternal. The self you made, evil and full of sin, is meaningless. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and light and joy and peace abide in you. Write it on your hand, my friend. Write it on your forehead. Write it on your mirror. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and light and joy and peace abide in you. This is the truth of who you are. This is the truth of who I am. Light and joy and peace is literally who we are. Let's read on. Salvation requires the acceptance of but one thought. You are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. Whatever evil you may think you did, you are as God created you. Whatever mistakes you made, the truth about you is unchanged. Creation is eternal and unalterable. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You are and will forever be exactly as you were created. Light and joy and peace abide in you because God put them there. We are literally a part of God. We are an idea in the mind of God. If I go and take a cup of water out of the ocean and I bring it back here, we put it under a microscope, we are going to see that it has exactly the same qualities as the water in the ocean. The same thing is true of you, my friend. The same thing is true of me. We have all of God's qualities right here, deep inside of us. Now, if I take that water and I manipulate it somehow. Maybe I'll boil it and all that's going to be left is the minerals. Now it's going to look different. It's going to act different than the water in the ocean, but it still has the basic elements. All I need to do is pour in some more water, and voila, we have the exact same qualities. It's the same thing with us. We've covered ourselves up with mud. We're wearing dirty glasses. We think that we are worthless worms. It's like we've put on a costume. This is not the truth of who we are. Let's take off our costume. Let's allow God's light and joy and peace to shine through us everywhere we go. Let's read on. In our longer exercise periods today, which would be most profitable if done for the first 5 minutes of every waking hour, begin by stating the truth about your creation. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Then put away your foolish self-images and spend the rest of the practice period in trying to experience what God has given you in place of what you have decreed for yourself. We'll come back and talk more about this when we talk about our practice sessions at the end of the lesson. Let's read on. You are what God created, or what you made. One self is true, the other is not there. Try to experience the unity of your one self. Try to appreciate its holiness and the love from which it was created. Try not to interfere with the self which God created as you by hiding its majesty behind the tiny idols of evil and sinfulness you have made to replace it. Let it come into its own. Here you are, this is you, and light and joy and peace abide in you, because this is so. Let's put away our childish toys. We don't need them anymore. Let's put away our costumes. We don't need them anymore. Take off the armor that's been protecting you all these years. Wash off the mud. Let your light and joy and peace shine forth for all the world to see. Let's keep reading. You may not be willing or even able to use the first 5 minutes of each hour for these exercises. At least remember to repeat these thoughts each hour. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Then try to devote at least a minute or so to closing your eyes and realizing this is a statement of the truth about you. If a situation arises that seems to be disturbing, quickly dispel the illusion of fear by repeating these thoughts again. Should you be tempted to become angry with someone, tell him silently, light and joy and peace abide in you. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You can do much for the world's salvation today. You can do much to bring you closer to the part in salvation that God has assigned to you. And you can do much today to bring the conviction to your mind that the idea for the day is true indeed. We are told repeatedly in A Course in Miracles that when we do our part to accept our own sinlessness, and when we do our part to accept that light and joy and peace are who we are, then we literally change the world. We're doing our part to bring others into oneness with God and all of creation. This is salvation, when we accept the truth of who we are as God's beloved children, full of peace and joy and light. Let's talk about our practice sessions for today. The lesson does not single out first thing in the morning and last thing at night, but it does say every waking hour. So let's give that 5 minutes, first thing in the morning and last thing just before we go to sleep, to say to ourselves, light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinless is guaranteed by God. And then the rest of our practice period in meditation, in which any thoughts of the ego slip in, we simply allow them to slide by, and we bring ourselves back to today's idea. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. If we are unable to give 5 minutes every hour, we simply want to stop what we're doing and say to ourselves, light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Allow ourselves to come back to center. Let go of the thoughts of the ego. Just rest in the wonderment of the truth of who we are as literally living in the mind of God. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Can you feel it, my friends? What a beautiful way to start the day. Thanks so much for listening right until the end. Are you ready for our special treat?
clouds. Where they look the most magical is up in the sky.
Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Light and joy and peace live in you, my friends. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Have a day full of God's light and joy and peace, and share it everywhere you go, my friends. I love you.